Hello, Power fans. It's Mathonical, and you're joining me for round one with Affinity. Our opening hand, while it is a little bit risky, I think it is a reasonable keep, mainly because if our opponent is ending up playing something aggressive, we got Galvanic Blast to keep that in check, so we won't die too quickly. With a turn one Springleaf Drum and two draw steps, we can either be looking for like a second land or another one drop. And then once we get that, we've got Prophetic Prism, and I think we can go from there. So we're going to go ahead and keep this one. And let's find out what our opponent is on. Forest Go. That's I can't really tell at this point what's going on, but seeing the Gurg's companion, that does tell me it's Stompy of some sort, although I haven't seen the companion in Stompy list for quite some time. So it's quite interesting there. So we do end up finding a few different one-drops, and we get to play a couple cards there. Since our start is going to be a little on the slow side, you can see that I opted for playing the Flayer Husk and then using Galvanic Blast on the companion rather than playing the Chromatic Star. Yeah. Our opponent then goes ahead and plays two more creatures. So here, I'm going to take a turn to try and play the Prophetic Prism, hoping to draw land, and thankfully we do get a little lucky and manage to pull that off. The reason why I'm going this route is I don't think, like, we could have Galvanic Blast both of their creatures, but I really do want to get us moving forward in lands and things of that nature, and I think I can take at least one turn to get hit here. Thankfully, it does pay off. It's a little on the risky side. It's completely reasonable to go the Galvanic Blast route as well. Our opponent is going to get in for the damage, going to start playing some Nest Invaders, and pass it back to us. So here, we've got a few different options. We do want to get this Myr Enforcer out, so since we already are up to 6 by playing the Prophetic Prism or by playing the Darksteel Citadel, either way we're going to have a free Myr Enforcer, and we're going to have both Galvanic Blasts at the ready. So the game plan here is hope the Myr Enforcer can kind of stall out the board state, and if it doesn't, that means our opponent does have to do something, where we do have two Galvanic Blast, which should theoretically be able to stop any crazy things. We don't want to play the Carapace Forger here. We do want to keep up the Galvanic Blast since our opponent does have to do something to get past this Enforcer. So our opponent does go for an Elephant Guide, so we're going to go ahead and use a Galvanic Blast in response. We don't want them getting up to a 5/5 or bigger. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Turns out our opponent does end up having a Vines of the Vastwood, so it was really advantageous that we have another blast here. So we're just going to be able to clean up this whole mess, to get rid of that companion, and still have a Myr Enforcer back to completely stymie our opponent's attacks. Things are looking very good at this point, and getting an Atog is just bonus. We're just going to be able to play out all of our big creatures. I'm going to get in here. If they want to trade two creatures for a Myr Enforcer, I'll power to them. Our opponent does end up drawing quite well off the top, getting another Elephant Guide. If they attack here with it, I was just going to take it. I can understand why they want to be back on defense, so I'm just going to move the Flayer Husk over, so that way we can get in with the Tog and the Forger, and see how our opponent blocks. Our opponent goes for the triple block on the Forger, which does make sense. We're going to go ahead and sack a couple artifacts to kill this Nest Invader, and this is going to leave our opponent with just a 3/3 Elephant and a Nettle Sentinel. So yeah, at this point things are looking quite good. We're going to suit up the Frogmite, just so that way it could block the Nettle Sentinel and we could block the Elephant. And before we attack, we're going to move the Flayer Husk over to the Enforcer, so that way it still kills two creatures if it gets double blocked. And the Atog needs to be blocked, otherwise it's going to just start eating our opponent's creatures, so our opponent does end up conceding there. We had the game pretty well locked up. And here we are with the sideboard for game 2. So what we're going to do is we definitely want these two, what are they, Krark-Clan Shamans. They're going to be a good way of completely wiping out our opponent's creatures should they get any kind of board set up. And what we're going to do is take out one land since we're on the draw. It's a bit debatable whether to take that out or not, but many lists of Affinity play 16 lands, some play 17, so I don't mind going down to the lower 16 when we're on the draw. And we're going to take out one Prophetic Prism as well. It does help with mana fixing, but being a turn 2 play, it's a little bit slower than a lot of our other starts. So it might mean we have to mulligan a little bit more frequently, but I don't mind taking that out just to bring in some really powerful cards. With that, let's jump on into it. our opening hand. It does look like a reasonable hand. We're missing a little bit of our color fixing, but being able to play a Frogmite on turn 2 into a Frogmite plus Thoughtcast on turn 3 looks really good to me. And if we draw any kind of 1-drop, this hand is like just amazing. So we're going to go ahead and keep it. Once again, no turn 1 play from our opponents. Another land, that's fine. No turn 2 play either, so it's a little bit suspicious that our opponent kept a 1-lander without anything to play on that. So we're going to go ahead and just start casting a lot of spells by dropping Frogmite, Myr Enforcer, Thoughtcast, lots of good stuff. Here we have a lot of red spells with no red mana, which is one of the downsides of Affinity, but our board of having 8 power and our opponent not drawing their second land ends us winning the game. Not the way that we'd prefer to win, but we will take it. Thank you for joining me for round 1, and I'll see you in round 2.